If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to a holiday edition of the Snap Decisions podcast. I am your Snap DJ coming to you on Turkey Day. Well, if you eat that anyway. But yeah, I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Thanksgiving so far. I am at home dog sitting. I was out grocery shopping, I think, today for the first time on Thanksgiving that I can remember that I've done. Some of the stores in the area are open. They were open early. They opened at like 6 a.m., closing at 2. And so I went out and I did some grocery shopping, some stuff like that. So yeah. And because the week was a little hectic, I thought, why not just do the podcast on the holiday in between shopping and cooking and all that other stuff. And then, of course, getting ready to watch my Cowboys later on, which I've done since I was a very young kid. But I also have to talk a little bit, and of course, no spoilers, because I know it just came out, but I have to talk a little bit about Stranger Things. One of my favorite shows that I've ever seen. It epitomizes my childhood in so many ways, and I absolutely love the Duffer Brothers for doing this show because it's honestly, it's got to be in my top 5 of favorite shows of all time, and it slowly moves up every time I watch it more. So it is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure many of you that listen to the pod have seen it. It seems like people that play games and read comics and stuff like that kind of sometimes tends to go hand in hand with sci-fi as well. And a lot of people do both. So I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen it, but the newest episodes to the last season, which is sad in itself that it is coming to an end. But look, I mean, it was supposed to have ended a while back, but unfortunately COVID came and stopped the production. And it made them end it a lot later than they thought. And in fact, you know, the cast is starting to look a bit too old, excuse me, for the characters. They're looking a bit too old to be still in high school and stuff like that. And I mean, you know, they're doing what they can do to make them still appear young, but they're growing and they're not kids anymore. But obviously, you know, I'm not going to give anything away. All I'm going to tell you to do is just watch it. If you've seen all the others, obviously you can't miss it. All 4 of the new episodes are up. They had some trouble last night with Netflix loading, which I knew that would happen. I didn't end up watching it until I got home from work, which wasn't until about 9:30-ish or so I got settled in and started watching. So by then it was okay. But I did hear people were trying to watch it when it first started at 8 o'clock. That there were loading problems, and I knew there would be because so many people are watching it and stuff. So, but all I can say is it was phenomenal. It was everything I expected it to be. What I'll tell you guys is this, and you know, because I do a lot of stuff about MCU stuff and movies and all that kind of stuff. Don't necessarily read the reviews first of things. People have a tendency to do that now. They read places like Rotten Tomatoes for the most part and everything like that. But I would say that Those kind of sites are, to me, I think it's a lot of what we see in a lot of internet things nowadays, and it's so much negativity. It's negativity for publicity. Sometimes these guys and critics and guys and gals will just say stuff because they know it's going to get clicks and it's going to get hits, and even if it gets negative hits, it doesn't matter to them because it's still a hit. So, but don't necessarily. And I'm not saying that they said it was bad, but I would always tell you, and this goes for anything, any kind of movie and stuff like that. Don't base your, go to see a film if you're going to spend the money, and believe me, it's not cheap. Go and see the film on your own merit. Go and see it because you want to see it, because you like it. Do that, and don't necessarily worry about what critics and whoever else is talking about, because 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't matter, because you're going to make up your own opinion on it. So, and I would say the same thing about this. The reviews are all out and everything already. So, but I would say that just make up your own mind. You're much better off just tuning in. And if you like the previous seasons, you're going to like this as well. I could just tell you that you will. But yeah, it was phenomenal. And all I will say is, oh my gosh, the last 15, 20 minutes of the final episode that they showed in this block was just incredible. Just incredible TV, outstanding. And I'm just flabbergasted from it. I can't wait now till Christmas, because now the next 3 are coming out on Christmas Day. And then, of course, we have the big finale, which comes out on New Year's Eve. So now we've got to wait a whole month to find out what happens next, which is going to kind of suck. But time goes so fast; it'll be here before we know it. But yeah, I love the show. The show just brings back, I talk a lot about nostalgia on this show because I'm old, and yes, that's what we do. We look fondly back at our memories from childhood and stuff, and it just resonates in so many ways with me, because I've done all of the things that those kids do. Going out and going on bike rides and going on adventures and playing D&D. And all the stuff that we had back then was in our imagination. We didn't have all of the accessories that we have today. We didn't have phones. We didn't have tablets. We didn't have VR. Our video games were 8-bit gaming systems. When we started having those, and I can remember having the handheld electronic games that were just little dots. So we didn't have all this stuff. And I have to say, and this is just not me, being an old man and rambling on about old, but I just think in a way it was so much better because we had to use our imaginations, because we didn't have the stuff to take the place of that. And I think because of that, we were able to create just amazing stuff. Like when we would play D&D, all we had back then were just manuals. We didn't have any digital stuff. We didn't have any of that. We just had the books, and the books just kind of gave you character hints and things like that. You created your own stuff on a piece of paper. You drew your own symbols for your character. You made up all of that. And we would sit at my picnic table in the back of my backyard in the summertime, and we would just go and play for hours and hours until it got dark. And it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And that's what this show does for me. That's what this show brings back for me. And it's just awesome. So yeah, if you watched all the rest of it, you're going to absolutely love it. It's just the Duffer Brothers are 80s guys, and again, that's why they resonate so much with me, because that was the time I grew up. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't done so already. If you're not watching it today, if you haven't watched it already, I binged it, watched the whole 4 episodes from, like I said, I started around 9:30. I think I finished it at around 3:30 in the morning, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Yeah. Each episode was a couple out, like an hour or so. Some of them were an hour, some an hour and a half and stuff. So about 4.5 hours. And I just watched the whole thing. There's no way I was going to stop watching it in the middle and come back to it. It's not that kind of thing. I will binge, and the same thing will be on Christmas Day. I know what I'll be doing Christmas Day night when it's usually kind of boring. You have your stuff during the day, you open your gifts and everything with your family and all that kind of stuff. And then nighttime, you kind of just go home and chill. And next day, if you're working, it's a new day. And so I'll be happy to watch the next round on Christmas as well. So yeah, just had to talk a little bit about that because it's still on my mind, and I'm just processing it all, and it was just it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. But yeah, so today on the show, we're gonna get into some things. Go over my what I've got here on the agenda today. And of course, this is it. This is the last season for the Spider season. We had Prowler as our last card. We had Hydro Man come out there as well. But yeah, this is, we're already in the last season. I told you these months are just going so fast and flying by. And before you know it, we'll be starting Weapon X next Tuesday. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about that a little bit. But firstly, we'll just go over what we're going to discuss today on the show. If you are at home today and you are going to watch some things, check out Binks' stream, please. If you have a few minutes, even if you just go over for a little bit. He's hosting a charity stream on his channel to support Northern Illinois Food Bank from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. So he's going to be doing a 12-hour stream. It says their mission is to feed neighbors in need and make getting help as frictionless as possible. And he has links to donate and stuff on his post. So go and check that out. I've had him on now. He's on the TV right now, actually. So yeah. And obviously if you could, donate to the charity too. It's a very, very good cause on a Thanksgiving day. So, that's kind of what it's all about. I knew some people who worked in food banks and stuff, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And, that's an amazing thing to do. And, sometimes when you do that, you give your time, to these places, you kind of just see, things like how other people, have to live and how they go without food and things like that. And it's difficult, to see that, but it does, kind of warm your heart to be able to do some great things for people. So go check that out if you guys get a chance. All right. So in the spin today, we're going to talk a little bit of the state of Snap. It's been rough. I'm not going to lie. It's been rough. Bugs in the game are very prevalent. I know they did an iOS update, but it doesn't seem to have really done much. The deck builder is so hard to use. And it's just, it's been tough. Ever since this last patch, the game has been really rough to play. We're going to talk a little more, and I know I've discussed this ad nauseum, and believe me, as much as you guys might be sick of hearing it, I'm sick of talking about it. But the bot stuff is just getting more and more obnoxious. It just really is. It's just getting worse and worse with these bots. And listen, I've put it out there. A lot of you have answered me on X and stuff like that, and I can see that I'm not the only one who is feeling this way and feeling this crunch with the climbs and all this kind of stuff, and seeing all these bots, these sweaty bots people are calling them, or cheater bots people are calling them, and everybody is saying to me, I'm these bots are coming up with cards that just beat me on the last turn, things like I've said before, and I'm not gonna make it ad nauseum and keep on going over it and reiterating it, but yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in there. Not much time because I've already spent just countless amount of time on it. Talk about a budget. So I did all B's there, but bugs, bots, budgets, and more. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people noticing that in the latest game mode, it wasn't very generous as the game modes have been lately, and people are kind of not that happy about that either. The fact that the game mode hasn't been quite as generous as it was over the last few times. People were getting excited because they're like, wow, Second Dinner was just really overly generous with these game modes and stuff. But yeah, it's this one not so much. And I only played it a very little bit. I got the new card, and that was it. I quit. I was done for cosmetics mostly. Other than the new card, to me, it just wasn't worth it, and so I stopped very quickly. The request line, of course, is your thoughts on the state of the game, which I did reach out to you about. I also did this little thing called, and I didn't get a ton of responses because I think people just looked at it and been like, oh boy. I did a little game called Turkey or Giblets. I don't know if many of you know what giblets are, but you can look that up. It's they're kind of gross. It's kind of the innards of a turkey, and it's when people are cooking turkey, it's pretty gross. But yeah, I said giblets or turkey, and I made the turkey actually be good. When a lot of people when they say turkey, they refer to turkey as being that's a turkey. It was always kind of derogatory thing. You feel bad for poor turkeys, as well, especially today. But anyway, so we'll go over that on the request, the request part of the show, the request line. And then, of course, Snap Talk. We'll talk about my week in game. Not really all that much going on ladder. Ladder is next to impossible, especially when, and this could be the difference from me and others, is when I play the game. Because a lot of people are agreeing with me that they're seeing some of the same things, but then some of the other people are not. Some of the other people are saying that they're not seeing any bots. And then I'm telling people I'm seeing almost all bots, but it could be because of the time that I play. I play very late at night, so many times, and I've had people tell me not to do it. I've had Nina as noob tell me not to play that at that time, and stuff like that too. But that's kind of the only time I get when I want to relax and I'm sitting down. I'll start kind of playing around midnight sometimes 12:30, 1 in the morning, and I play until like 3 in the morning. And that's when I'm seeing all this. So it would kind of make sense, I guess, Eastern Standard Time, that time of the night that I am getting a lot of bots, because there may just not be a lot of people playing. And I know that, like I said, I've said this before, the player base has gone down. I saw another creator did a video with a graph chart about the game and how, well, no, I'm sorry. It was it Gregor? Somebody posted about how Twitch streaming for Snap has gone like way down. Like I think it was the other day, there were literally single digit number people watching Twitch streams with Marvel Snap, because they can they can see that. You can see when people are when people are watching streams of a certain genre. And they were able to get a figure, and the figure was super low. I responded to Gregor by saying, your streams are, attributed to you. And that goes to any of the creators. Many of it is not just the game you play, but it's you. It's your personality. It's you that makes the content watchable for your audience. The game's great, but anybody could kind of just sit there, or anybody could just play a game. I watch, in particular, Binks is one of them. I watch, trying to think who else I watch that plays the game a lot. Nina. I've watched Nina quite a bit. I used to watch, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget his name. The guy who liked playing move decks all the time. I forget his name now. But the people that I watch are people who entertain me. It's not necessarily the game, because I could sit and play the game on my own. But I'm watching it for people who are entertaining. And there are plenty of them out there. So, guys, what I will say is, even if Snap does start to kind of lose some popularity, and some of your favorite streamers go to other things, I would tell you that, and you probably will make this decision anyway. You'll probably just continue to watch them regardless, and that's the way I would be. Regis Kilbin is another one. Molt's the guy, I couldn't think of his name, but Regis Kilbin's another one. He's just very entertaining, and no matter what those guys are going to do, any of the people I mentioned, I'm sure the people you watch. The other people that I've had on my show in the past, like Gregor and Flash Gaming and many, many others, they entertain because of who they are. And so I would tell you that even if Snap does kind of die off at some point or goes away, keep tuning into those people because you watch them for them. Sure, you watch it because of the game also, but you're watching them because of their personality, and that's kind of what I told them about. But I think going back to the thing there is I think a lot of it is when I'm playing, and that could be why I'm getting all the bots when I am doing so. So, all right. So then we'll talk about we'll go to Comics Corner. We'll talk about Prowler and Hydro Man, of course, to end the month out. We'll go to the MCU Minute, and we'll talk about MCU news. Not a whole lot this week. I think there was a new Wonder Man trailer that came out. It actually was a Wonder Man ad by the with a phone number to call and stuff like that. So that was what came out in lieu of another trailer. But we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll also discuss some things to avoid. As far as stuff like online and things are showing about doomsday and stuff, so much of it is fake. So much of it is AI. And, I got to admit, while I love technology, I'm kind of getting a little sick of the use of AI. I kind of am getting a little sick of it already. And I know it's just starting out and it's just coming, but I am getting a little tired of it already because it's just constant fake stuff. And some of it doesn't even look good, like I saw a person post something the other day they've got this fake thing that they're putting on Facebook for parade balloons, right? Because the Macy's Day, the Thanksgiving Day parade was today, and there's a Christmas parade, and and they put up these AI balloons. And I've seen one of a friend of mine showed me one with Jason, which was I thought was amazing. But I'm like, I even said to him, I'm like, what parade was this? And he goes, oh, it's AI. And I'm like, ugh. And then I saw another one today of another character, so they're doing stuff like that. But there was so much AI used and fake images that were put out with Doomsday and stuff like that and you knew like that one of them was of James Marsden, who plays Cyclops. Like the AI hardly had him age, and he looks younger than he actually is. So it's like that it's not real, and it's just I'm kind of getting a little tired of it. I know as creators and for Snap we talk about it in some of the cards and some of the AI that some of the card studios are using and stuff, and it I'd really much rather, and I think I heard Ben Roller mention this on Snap on this, that he'd much rather the art and the artists doing it, and I feel the same way. I got attracted to this game because of the artwork, because I love comic books and stuff like that, and my love for all that. And even Magic the Gathering, like Magic had its own artwork and its own art, people drawing that stuff. And I'm not saying that some of the studios themselves don't do a great job, okay? But I would much rather them keep getting the artists that are doing stuff. It just seems more authentic to comic books, more something akin to what I'm used to seeing, and so yeah. So we'll talk a bit about the MCU stuff and all the crap to avoid, because it's just. And then we'll get to the lyric challenge for this week. I had one this past week, and it was guessed. It indeed was the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And of course, that made famous, brought back into the world. Not that it wasn't famous before, but brought back to life a little bit by, of course, Thor Ragnarok. So that's where that one came from. And I told you, I'm going to have stuff that's going to apply to or be involved with comic books. Not comics, but, comics and Marvel and DC and stuff like that as far as the music is concerned. So it might be something from a soundtrack. It might be something about, written about that particular character. Because over the years, there have been songs written about some of these characters and things like that. So it could be some stuff from animated stuff and things like that. So yes, so congrats to those that guessed that song. And it was a person over on Blue Sky who has guessed these many times. He's got great lyric prowess, I will say. And it is Voltron Pilot. Voltron Pilot was the one who guessed it. So he's guessed many of them along the way. And I appreciate that. But yeah, so it was cool, that I got a guess out there, but I will keep on keeping on with that and keep on doing it. So, all right, let's get into it, shall we? Again, first of all, I wish you all the best on your holidays. I hope you're enjoying today, no matter where you happen to be, or whether you're chilling at home, or whether you're out and visiting relatives or stuff like that. And safe travels to everybody, because I know that there is some bad weather across the country right now. A lot of people are getting their first snowfalls, like big snowfalls in some areas. I heard Pittsburgh out west, Pennsylvania, is supposed to get hit pretty good. I know we're supposed to get some snow squalls, I think, tomorrow, which I mentioned on another pod. Always be careful when you hear that word, because it is, snow squalls can be very, very dangerous. And then I did hear we might get our first measurable snowstorm, I think, this coming Tuesday. So, yeah, it's that time, and that can happen at any time. But just stay safe always wherever you may be traveling today, and don't eat too much turkey. Although if you do, with the tryptophan in there, you'll probably be asleep. So, but anyway, thank you all for listening. As I always say, I appreciate you all for doing so, no matter where it is you listen or how you listen. And then, of course, I am part of the Snap Judgments League of Podcasts, which includes such amazing pods as, of course, Snap Judgments with Glazer and Roy and his guests that he has on every single week. I think it mostly comes out on Friday or Saturday. It depends. And, of course, check out Glazer on his channel. Still doing all that work for you guys with the daily decks and all that stuff. And he's got a lot of good, cool things to give away, season passes and all that. So check that out. And then, of course, Snap on This, who I just mentioned, with Ben Roller, It's Just Re, and, of course, the host, Lauren Whatevs. They all do some great stuff over there. And they were talking about Slay the Spire in Secret Homework, enough where I had to kind of look it up and check it out and stuff like that. I might have to play it and see what it is for myself and look into it. I'm always into, looking up different mobile games and stuff. So know if any of you guys play that out there, but yeah, give them a listen. Always a fun pod, comes out every Friday, and stay after the credits. They have actually an after credits little segment when they sign off. They still have some stuff that goes on after that. So they had Ree talking about some comics after one of them and things like that. So yeah, great pod every single Friday. Check that out. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to get into the spin here, and we'll go over the stuff. So first of all, the patch came, and so did it come the bugs. A lot of bugs, and the most horrible one, I think, was the deck builder. Because I mean, my gosh, if you can't build a deck, what the heck are you going to do? And you're in that screen, and it's you're seeing all, I know me, I'm seeing my cards get like pinked out. They're all like pink. I can't even see the card backs or the actual card itself. I'm having that happen. When I was trying to build a deck, it would lock up. I couldn't look up cards. I'd have to leave and exit the game. I'd have to come back and then look the card up, and oh, what a disaster. I'm not sure what caused all this, But boy, oh boy, yeah, I mean, something really just wrecked the game, and it's just bad. And a lot of other people are talking about it. If you are having problems with your deck builder, that's a pretty horrendous mistake, because I mean that's where everything starts. People are going to be sure they might have some pre-built decks already, but when you want to go in and you want to use like the new card, which Prowler came out, you want to use the new card, you want to make a deck with Prowler, and then you're in there and it's taking you like forever to just try to get through a deck build. And that's not good. That's not good. And I know that during the holidays it's tough because they're doing things with family and everything like we all are, and they're not going to be putting out stuff to fix this kind of thing. So you're gonna have to put up with it for a while. I know they put a hot fix out to iOS. I'm not exactly sure what that did, but it didn't seem to help much of the issue, at least that I have seen anyway. And I play only pretty much on Apple, so I'm not, don't know what caused that, but something broke it, and it just has been really, really rough, really rough. The bots thing again, I've mentioned this ad nauseum. I'm not going to spend too much time on this in this one, but it's just, for me, I think I may have gotten back up to 87, but I can't get past it. I'll go on these streaks where I seem to be doing okay. And then the next thing you know, no matter what I play, and again, you can tell, like, there are some people that play this game without ever emoting or having people muted and stuff like that. I understand that. But you can look at collection levels now. You can see and I will say that most of these bots now, these ones that Glenn admitted were harder, and they're going to play you much better, and they know the decks much better and learn the decks much better, are all in usually the 20,000 CL level. But the one thing, and even people that have responded to this, which I'll get to in the request line, are saying a lot of similar things that I am, and saying that they're getting beat with cards always on the last turn of the game. You can see that when they're the bots, and I could tell just by knowing when I'm playing someone else, the bot seems to just take forever on that last turn, right? Takes forever on that last turn. And that's why I said, I know Glenn said they can't see what you're playing. All right. Well, I have no reason to say that he's lying. But it sure seems that way sometimes. When they know they're kind of beat in the 2 lanes that you got out already, and then all of a sudden you see this miraculous card pull that you're thinking to yourself that there's literally only probably one card that they might have that can beat me in their, whether it's in their deck type that they're playing or even overall. And then the next thing you know, you're waiting, almost till the timer runs out, and then boom, here come the cards, right? And they have that exact card or cards that beat you in the 2 lanes that you happen to be winning, right? Or maybe one lane that you're not and the other lane that you're winning. So look, I'm of the opinion of this, that they tuned these things up, made them way too sweaty. They are way too difficult now. And I'm not saying to go back to all cheater bots. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, because you still get them at like in the level 60s where they play stupid. So the stupid bots are still out there, but they're just fewer and far between. You don't see them much at all. I think I saw one since I've been in the 80s, and you try to take it for as many cubes as you can. But even those, you don't get as much from anymore. They will just, they'll retreat. If you know you have them beat and you snap them, they'll retreat. They might play you for like the 4 cubes, but they rarely now will give you 8. So they made the bots too sweaty. And I really hope that enough people complain about it and they realize what they did and they back off, because these bots are way too difficult. Way too difficult. I'm sorry, but bots shouldn't be beating you. It's like you getting beaten by the computer when you would play computer games back in my day, and you got beat by, the game should not be that hard. It simply should not be that hard, where you are consistently losing to these bots. That shouldn't be the way bots are. And if again, the whole thing is to alleviate the fact that they're just not getting many players anymore, that's fine. But making these bots so incredibly difficult to beat, that's not going to help you, because you're just going to frustrate the remainder of your player base. And if you're making it so difficult to climb on that ladder, and people just don't want to play it anymore, that's going to be the end of them playing. Because ladder is the biggest attraction right now in this game, other than some of these limited time game modes, and even they're not doing it for everybody. So it's not wise to keep this going the way that it is. It really just isn't. And if I were them, I certainly would not do that. It's been talked about by a lot of people, myself included, and a lot of players are complaining about it, and it's justified. It's absolutely justified. So that's all I'm going to spend on them, but I'll get back into it with what people are commenting in the request segment as well. And then the budget. Well, like I said, a lot of people were getting excited because they were saying they were being very friendly with the last Deadpool's Diner, and they certainly did. As far as the cosmetics were concerned and the ease of getting them. But when we got this latest game mode, it certainly was not that much that friendly without you having to spend a lot of gold, and without you having to play the mode out and spend a lot of gold to get up that track that they have. It certainly was not that. So a lot of people are now saying that about the mode. So and budgetary, everything like that. As far as the budget is concerned, it's the fact that prices just continue to rise. Whether it be on, they're always flashing up now, a different card, but you get the new card, right? And they're flashing up immediately on the screen. Oh, don't forget, with your new card, you can now get this card too in a bundle, and so you're seeing that flash up there for the low price of just $19.99. You too can have this, the bundle of this brand new card, that you acquired. And stuff. So you're seeing all that. I don't care about that. That's salesmanship. They've got to earn money. I get it. They've got to sell the game and stuff like that. And they've got to earn money doing it. So that's fine. That's fine. They want to earn money. That's fine. The people who want to buy the bundles and whatever, that's fine. But as far as making the game modes to the point of where you've got to spend money or you're really not going to get much at all, that I don't necessarily agree with. They did something very nice with their new player experience. That was a plus. Obviously, I mentioned that last week. And then it seems like you get an up and then you get it down. You get something cool that happens, and then the patch comes out, and then you get all these bugs, and then you get some more monetary stuff. So you get an up and then you get a couple downs, and then you get a small up and you get a couple downs. I think honestly, with the decline of the player base that they're having, I think they've got to keep. I don't know. I think they've got to. I'm not saying you need to be like crazy generous, because they do have to make money. That's what it's all about. But. And I always said, I don't really care about cosmetics. Cosmetics can be whatever they want to be, because all you do is just bypass it. You just don't do it. You just don't buy them. If you want them, you buy them. If you don't, you don't. I mean, I bought the Uncle Ben that came out because I didn't have an Uncle Ben variant, and it was cool because it had a different version of Spider-Man on there. The same artist that did the Uncle Ben variant is the artist Spider-Man that's in the card, or on the card. So, I chose to get it with gold. But you don't have to do that. You're not obligated to do that. In fact, I said variants, card backs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're great, but how often do you really pay attention to them? It's not necessary to play. And so yeah, but yeah, I mean that's essentially it. It's just been rough, and I put a post out saying so. It's been rough to play the game overall with all these bugs. And then, the bot issue, I know I'm not going to get it. I'm not even going to get to 90 this month. And I came close. I hit Infinite 2 months ago. I came close last month. I got to 96 or 97, and I just kind of stopped and did other things. But this month, I'm not even going to get out of the 80s. So I'm back to that where I was about 5-6 months ago, where you can't even get out of the 80s because it's such a slog with the bots that are out there. So anyway, little state of snap thing there in the spin. And now we're going to go to the request line. And we're going to see what you guys said about all of this. Twitter's been, X has been kind of active, especially for me. I've been getting a lot of cool responses from you guys out there, so I appreciate that. All right, so get to these questions here. Oh, one more real quick thing for the spin. We have a brand new, this is according to GameStop, a brand new mode called Team Clash that's coming to Marvel Snap. Now, this I knew nothing about. I don't know if this was data mined and people saw it, but I knew nothing about this. So this is called a limited time mode. So it's a limited game mode. Will start December 18th and feature 5 iconic comic book teams. So remember those of you who said in my poll that you kind of wanted to see like team ups and stuff? Well, here you go. Your wish is coming true. Marvel Snap will pay homage to classic comic team ups with its next limited time mode, Team Clash. The mode will reimagine 30 cards as Team Clash versions with team-based synergies, and each team will have a passive ability to boost their strengths. The event will begin in late December. This is where I was telling you guys when I saw the data mines, I was seeing Star-Lord, Guardians cards. I thought they were coming out with a new Guardian season, like a rehash of a... But no, that's what this is for. Or that's what all those cards that were being data mined are for. So it was definitely repeat cards, but it's these team cards. So the 5 teams run the gamut of Marvel characters and classic team-ups. The teams are Avengers, X-Men, Thunderbolts, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Spider-Verse. You'll be able to try out a pre-built deck with any of the 5 teams or build your own custom Team Clash deck to try your own strategies. Your custom decks just need to have the 6 core cards for that team. Some cards have been subtly tweaked for the Team Clash mode, while others are completely different. For example, in the Avengers team, each time you play an Avenger, you give the others at that location +1 power. Team Clash Captain America has an ongoing ability similar to his regular one. Other Avengers at his location get +2 power, but Hulk has a bigger shift, a slight reduction in power, but an on-reveal that gains +2 power for each other Avenger at his location. So they have the picture of the Team Clash Captain America here. And it just says, ongoing, your other Avengers here have +2 power. And it's the same base art that you would see for Captain America, but it has an Avenger symbol up underneath the cost. It says you can check out all the teams with their abilities below to start planning your decks. Team Clash will run December 18th to December 27th. So another new game mode. This one sounds very interesting to me. So I'll take a look at these real quick. So let's look at the gallery. So, of course, the Captain America is there. Then we have Doctor Strange, who's on reveal. Move one of your Avengers with on reveal to this location to repeat its ability. Okay, so that's cool. A little different. Then we've got Hawkeye, Team Clash Hawkeye. On reveal, if you play a card here next turn, +2 power. If it's an Avenger, repeat this ability here. So just a little bit of difference in some of them, but enough to make them interesting, right? Then we have Hulk. Hulk is on reveal, +2 power for each other Avenger you have here. And, of course, his base power is 11. And let's see. Then we've got Vision. Vision is if you have another Avenger here, you can move this. So again, it has the synergistic stuff with the team. And then the last card we have in the Avengers is Thor. And it's on reveal, draw an Avenger. then shuffle Mjolnir into your deck. So he gets to draw another Avenger and then also gets his regular ability. So it's kind of cool. X-Men, you get +1 energy for each location where you have 3 or more X-Men. So different from the Avengers one. And then, of course, we have Team Clash Cyclops. Ongoing, gains power equal to the most energy you had in one turn this game. Okay, so that's cool. Might be some, again, you're gonna want to mix some cards in that are maybe going to help him. Jean Grey, the next time you get bonus energy as the turn starts, draw a card. So this one seems to be all about bonus energy. So you're going to, obviously, you want to play maybe these with Wiccan or other cards that give you bonus energy. Jubilee, on reveal, add the top card of your deck to this location. Give it power equal to your unspent energy. So yeah, the X-Men stuff is all about energy. We've got Nightcrawler. You can move this once. When this moves, give it +1 power for each of your X-Men at the new location. Then we have Professor X. You get +1 energy each turn for each of your X-Men here. So he's going to give you extra energy for each of your X-Men. So he obviously very synergistic with the team, with the X-Men team there. And then we've got Wolverine. End of turn, if you have unspent energy, destroy this to regenerate it with +2 power at a location where you have an X-Man. So again, very cool. Some of them have similar powers, some of them completely different. And then we got the Thunderbolts one. Your Thunderbolts reveal with +2 power at locations you're losing. So we got Ghost. Ghost costs 1 less for each location you're losing. So in this one, you kind of want to be losing locations instead of winning them all the time, which is kind of neat. You know, like they kind of mention themselves, the Thunderbolts in the movie, as losers. You got Sentry. Add -9 power Void to a location where you don't have a Thunderbolt. So then obviously with the Void, you're going to automatically be more than likely losing that lane, which will help the other cards. We've got Taskmaster, who gains power equal to your other highest power Thunderbolt. So now obviously, so that's cool. It's kind of similar, but different. Then we got Toxie. On reveal, give 2 characters in your hand +2 power. You can't play them next turn unless they're Thunderbolts. So it goes against her normal power, and you could play them if they are Thunderbolts. Then we've got Valentina. Valentina's on reveal, add a random Thunderbolt to your hand. Give it -1 cost. So you're going to get one of these Thunderbolts added by Valentina. And then lastly, we have Winter Soldier. So Winter Soldier's his own card. It's not Bucky that turns into Winter Soldier. It's Winter Soldier. He's a 1/7. You can only play this at a location that you're losing. So, okay. So that's kind of cool. Different. And then we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy. And they are as follows. All cards reveal with +1 power at the glowing location. So this is Drax. They have cool borders around them, too. The Guardians have a purple border, and they have the Guardian symbol. Drax is on reveal. If your opponent played a card here this turn, double this card's power. So obviously he would go to an 8. Then we go to Gamora. Gamora's a 5/7. On reveal, if your opponent played a card here this turn, destroy their lowest cost card here. So she's quite different. Then we go to Groot. He's a 4/10. On reveal, discard a non-Guardian card from your hand unless your opponent played a card here this turn. So if you have any other cards in your hand that aren't all Guardians, you would end up discarding that card with Groot. Pretty good stat line on him. That's kind of, you wonder when they do these limited game modes that they're not making the cards the way they kind of wanted them to in the first place. Groot should be like a big card like that. Then we have Mantis. 1/2 on reveal. If your opponent played a card here this turn, give a Guardian in your hand -2 cost. Maybe what they'll do is maybe they'll find out maybe they'll find out if they like these better and then maybe change them. Rocket Raccoon is a 1/3. On reveal, if your opponent played a Guardian here this turn, you draw a Guardian. So far, I'm kind of liking the Guardians. The Guardians and the X-Men, I think. I think I'm liking those two the best so far. And then last but not least, we have Star-Lord. He's a 2/3. On reveal, if your opponent played a card here this turn, give all of your Guardians +1 power. So, of course, being the leader, it makes sense. And then we go lastly to Spider-Verse. You get +2 energy if one of your Spider-Verse cards moved last turn. So this is a move synergistic. We have Agony. 1/3. After you play a card here, merge this with it. If it's a Spider-Verse card, move it away from here. So you merge and move. Then we've got Anti-Venom. 4/6. On reveal, set the cost and power of your deck's top card to 0 until that card moves. So again, you're going to want to be moving stuff in this deck. Got Ghost Spider 1/2 on reveal. The last card you played moves here. If it's a Spider-Verse card, it gains +2. So it's gonna, you're gaining bonuses from moving. Boy, they are in love with the move stuff lately, aren't they? They are really loving move lately. Then we've got, who's this? Scarlet Spider, 3/4. Activate. Add a clone with the same power to another location, then move this to the third location. So now it's a directed move for the clone. So similar to what it does, just a little tweak. Then we got Spider-Man 2099 on reveal. For each time your cards move this game, give +1 power to one of your cards. He's a 5/8. And last but not least here, we've got Spider-Man, the Symbiote Spider-Man 4/6. Activate, merge one of your cards here into this. Replace that card with a Spider-Verse card from your deck. So there you go. So a brand new game mode coming called Team Clash. And that was just a little look at all the cards. I almost forgot about that. So glad I did not. I saw the post first. All right, now we're going to get into the request line. And we're going to get into some of your responses for my post. First, I'll go over the turkey or giblets one. What has been your most fun thing this year in Marvel Snap so far? And what did you dislike the most? So that's the turkey and that's the giblets. All responses read on the pod. Got an answer from Burb, who's going to be on my pod very soon. I'm going to answer moments in the community. So turkey, seeing everyone lose it over Borders and Deadpool's Diner, such a generous event. I would agree there. That was extremely generous. Yes, I would agree. That was definitely the most generous game mode we got so far. And giblets, the freak out over Kid Omega. Gravy, bit of both. The TikTok ban and compensation fiasco. Can't believe that was this year. Yeah, crazy, right? It's you try to put things out of your mind sometimes. And then Maria. Hello, Maria. My turkey, it's the snap packs. Now I'm getting less missing cards. And I've completed Deadpool's Diner and Grand Arena at least once. The giblets, the actual and constant bugs that makes difficult for me to play ladder and finish my bounties in time. Have a nice day. You as well, Maria. You as well. And hope you're having your a great Thanksgiving as well. But yeah, that's they were the two responses that I got there. I put that one out kind of late. My giblets are the bots, the bot fiasco. Since the very beginning of this year, I knew that they were made differently. I knew they were different, and it's just gotten worse. They are definitely the giblets for me. And the turkey, always for me, it's the amazing people I get to talk to because of this game, the people that I've met, whether it be the people that listen to my pod and respond, like Maria or all of you others that have taken the time out of your day to respond and listen, or the creators that have come on my show, the good people that I've got to know over the course of this year and last year and the year before doing this podcast, and obviously all of you that listen to the podcast. That is my turkey, without a doubt. I'm very, very grateful to all of you that have joined me on the show, that have listened to the show, of course, especially, and the people that I've gotten to meet with this game being part of my life. So that is my favorite thing for this year so far. Okay. All right, let's get into I asked for some suggestions for decks, and people were nice enough to give me some suggestions. Okay, here it is. Snap is getting very tough to play lately between the crashes trying to build a deck and the constant bots. Left wondering how many people are actually playing this game anymore. And the same decks over and over, even in Sanctum. What are your thoughts on the game in general? So here we go. Carlos Zarer on X said, I wish I played bots. I play mobile and I feel like I play the sweatiest players out there. Been forever stuck in the low 80s for the last 5 to 6 seasons. Yeah, I'm right there with you this month. And I've been where you are before. I only started getting into the 90s again like the last 2 months. And then hit infinite again once. But yeah, I'm telling you, don't put it past. If you're not sure that the sweaty things are the bots, because they are indeed sweaty bots. So they are extremely challenging. And yeah, and then Carlos responded. I responded to him. The bots are actually very challenging. He wrote, "Oh well, damn. Well, other than being stuck in the 80s, since once I get there, I haven't had any issues with Snap. Thankfully, no crashes mid games. I don't see the same deck issues you do, but whenever I change decks, I always seem to play either a mirror or the exact deck killer. Yes, and yes. Yep, I do see that as well." KMAD3 says, least I've played in some months, partly because I'm more interested in other games at the moment, but also because, like stated, the meta isn't the best right now. I don't enjoy getting locked out of all locations 4 times a day, with what few time I do spend on the game now. Yeah, for sure. The meta right now, is to me is not fun. It's very combo centric meta. I've heard that from KM Best. I've heard that from other creators. It is all about combos. Whether you're playing zombies, whether you're playing the lockout deck that he mentioned, which by the way, I still say. And the fact that they're having bots playing that is outrageous. That deck needs to be gone. Needs to be gone out of the meta. And if you're one of the people that are playing it, you're part of the problem. I'm sorry, but that deck should not exist. It should not be in the meta. And no one should have to deal with it. That is one of the most obnoxiously bad decks that there is in this game. And it is no fun. It sucks. It sucks playing against it. And that's just it. It just does. So, if you like it, well, then I don't know what to say about you. Because to me, it's not a fun deck to play against. It's not fun to lose to, and it sucks for the game itself. So you can fight me on that all you want. But I agree with that 100%. And I agree with the meta being the meta right now to me is not fun. Jay Gonzaba says, missed Infinite last season for the first time, probably this month, uninspired. I think the nerf hurt my style of play, or people are just better. I don't think it's people are just better. I really don't. Because for the most part, when I'm seeing people with low CL levels, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure I've been playing the game much longer than they have. And just from that respect, and I'm not bragging, but I'm pretty good at the game. And I'm, when I'm seeing people like that are just, coming in and they're beating me with any old deck. And I wrote back, it's all combos. And honestly, it's not my thing either. The decks are obnoxious. And I meant that with that lockdown deck. That lockdown deck, like I said, better get addressed. On the very next OTA that they do, that better get addressed. Addressing it like they did with Storm was stupid. They completely missed the mark. Storm meant nothing. The 1 point of power on Storm meant nothing to that deck. That needs to go. Along with the Human Torch thing, that also needs to happen. Because beating around the bush with that as well and nerfing around it did not solve the problem. Human Torch needs to be nerfed. Period. Okay. Pepe Vega says, I think I'm the bot. Hadn't had the hardest season so far. I just want to reach level 90. Yeah, I know I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. No way. I sat down like 3 nights ago, again, late night, tried to play on ladder. I got up to 88. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could do. Nope. I went on a massive losing streak, lost every single, and this is why I'm saying about all this too. I've never played this game where I've lost as many games as I've lost in a row lately. And it's not because of poor snapping. I'm leaving on 1 cube. But I will still end up losing like 10, 15 straight games. And that to me is ridiculous. That to me is ridiculous. It just makes you not want to play. And then I wrote, I hear that. Highest I got to was 87 and had no issues getting to 90 the last few months. Mountaintop Collect says bad right now. They have pushed decks that are teched out with the cards that you had to pay for. Free-to-play players are screwed. Feels like I'm always matched up with decks opposite of mine that are auto losses, like they do it on purpose. See? I'm not imagining this, guys. I'm not imagining this. Maybe it's because the only other thing I could think of is maybe it's because people are net decking and they're net decking other creators' decks, and maybe the bots are also net decking, and they're taking decks that are just popular by number in the meta, and maybe that's why we're just seeing all the repeat decks. Because maybe the bots are playing the repeat decks because they're net decking, technically net decking as well. They're taking the decks that are strong. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, I'm not alone in this. And when you're a person who is when you're thinking a person who is like a conspiracy person, or you're just causing trouble. You don't have a whole gang of people behind you saying the exact same thing in most cases. In most cases, you're out there alone. But I don't think I am. So I wrote, I get the same counter decks also all the time. I'm glad to hear that it's not only me. And then they responded saying, and they play the exact cards in the right place to beat you, almost as if they know what you're going to play. Yep. Yep. I've said that many times, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Fantastic Four Reserve member says, a cool name, by the way. I never feel as if I'm playing a bot. I'm a mobile player, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't think so. I said I only play mobile. Never did the computer version. Maybe it's my pocket meta determined by MMR and CL, but all I'm seeing are bots who are playing the War Machine Lockdown deck, RHM, or more. Ricardo C says, same, the experience is lacking. Earlier today, my opponent snaps as soon as the game starts. Hotel Inferno shows, destroys my win condition. I, of course, retreat. That's happening a lot more, too, where you're seeing people on turn one snap. I'm seeing so many more turn one snaps now than I have ever seen in this game. So many more. And many of it are coming from the bots. Many of that is coming from the bots. Said, I tried to shake it off. When you have bots snapping before they've won, it kind of conditions you in a way. Yep. I still believe that there are cheater bots that are just going to beat you no matter what. I know Glenn said they don't see your cards ahead of the time a normal player would, but it sure does seem that way when they find the exact thing to beat you at the end. This is from You Are Not Your Own. I feel like the bots are better than people think. I've been stuck in the 90s and I can't hit infinite. You're lucky you got to 90. Danny Pearson says, the new bots have ruined the ladder. Feel like player base must be extremely small since it seems like more than half of my matches are against the smarter bots. Playtime is less than 20% what it was 3 months ago. See, this is what I mean. If you're doing this because if they are doing this because of a loss and a downfall of player base, you are going to lose even more of your player base by keeping these bots as hard as they are right now. You're going to lose even more. So that is not going to help the situation. You're going to chase off your player base even more with these hard bots. Period. You just are. So, that's just facts. Crunch Time says, I'm completely burned out and turned off for the first time in 3 years since I started playing daily. It's bad. Sanctum only added to this. I just can't do the grind like I used to. Same deck, same meta. It's getting pretty dire out here. And then I wrote, Sanctum has all the same decks that you're seeing played in the meta. Move, War Machine, Lock, and Victoria Hand. I'm just seeing people just transfer they're transferring their main decks right over into Sanctum. Who in God's name would play some of these decks, in Sanctum? Like you never saw. You saw certain things like you see a lot of Surtur, you see a lot of certain kind of things. But my God, it's just like people are just taking these, and that to me smells like a bot as well. I'm sure there's bots in Sanctum also. So Philip J. Woodward says, I will say that I saw almost no bots on my climb, but I agree with absolutely everything else you're saying here. Man, you're lucky. I wish, but again, maybe it's the time I play. Marcus Bosch says, I haven't seen a bot in about 2 weeks. This must be your own experience. I said, maybe, could be. Maybe because of when I'm playing. Prater says, Infinite Ladder is full of sweats who spam the same tier 1 decks. The meta is tough, OTA was bad, and Sanctum rewards got gutted. Iceberg 325 says, I never see bots. Matuna says, I play solely on addiction at this point. It's not a pleasurable experience. I do like to see card and match interactions, which is why I'm bad at cube management. But game crashes and all the bugs piss me off a fair bit. It's very apparent where a Secondary's resources are focused. Mark M says, I wish I saw a few bots on my climb. I see about 3 on every season on ladder. But see, you might be thinking, Mark, about the ones that are easy to beat. And yes, they are only in like the 60s on ladder. Now they're gone, and the other ones are going to play like, Glenn said this themselves. They up the difficulty with the bots. They learn the decks better. They play meta decks, and they play them very, very well. So, Eric Leong says, never have I seen a mobile game with so much bugs, and just scrolling in menu feels so sluggish. You are the winner, Snap. Chris Hamsworth says it still crashes even with your new iPad. The game is not fun anymore. What are we playing for anyway? Variants and emotes. The King of Thorns 12 says, I still enjoy the game. This is the first time since an update I've dealt with glitches. Kyphon Ed says, still playing as consistently as ever. Sanctum is fun, but I just farm card variants, credits, and lastly an emote that I want. Still do my daily missions and only purchase the season pass when I find the card enjoyable. The Food says, the gameplay is incredible. Bugs have been annoying, but all of the doom and gloom is more annoying. Yeah, it's an expensive game for different reasons, and they should get control of the QA. But if you like TCG and or Marvel, it's fantastic. Adam says, the deck building bug is a major problem, especially when limited game mode drops. Obviously, it's not intentional, but I think Secondary needs to be very proactive in reassuring confidence of player base. Lots of doom and gloom that they need to deal with. Eliezer fan... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Eliezer Ian. My game crashes every 2 matches on my iPhone, so there's that. Mine was doing that on my iPad, which is why I had to buy the new one. Adam says, yeah, it's hard to enjoy the game sometimes between bad metas, and after 3 years to still not have a stable UI is frustrating. And then Nick says, zero fun anymore. My comic book collection says, been so bad lately. I hate playing ladder now. Charms don't advance you on the Sanctum reward track, and the shop is terrible. So after spending gold on Hydro Man, I think I'm done with the mode. T. Jenicky, Dead W8. 1. I've noticed that it's harder to rank past 75, and decks don't seem to work properly. Need an overhaul of card effect and a few draw cards that aren't active, and to make it easy to get Season 4 cards. Especially new players, and maybe rarity stuff, a few cards, or just give all players the cards. 2, cards that have been in the game since day 1. I understand they need a way to make money, but I feel like the pricing is getting out of hand, especially on alt cards. I would suggest to remove titles and avatars from drops, make them part of achievements, and then adjust the amount of gold tokens and points from caches so that makes it easier to get new cards and help new players. I would add a ghost card for decks. So let's say you see a deck you like, and you then add all cards to it, and then once you have it, you can play the deck. So a lot of suggestions there from them. Thank you for that. Bumpy says, feeling burned out. Play a few games and stop. Not really engaged because rewards are lackluster. Normally, I buy the gold pass, but let it lapse a few weeks ago. Paid for the premium pass on the last few events, so I didn't have to play them. SD Sports Fan says, I still enjoy the game. The crashes have gotten much worse, though. Wood Dust 21 says, yep, honestly, if I didn't have so much sunken investment in this game, I would be out like a shot. I literally can't hit infinite haven't hit infinite for ages, and it's just like so boring. Feel your opponent has all the answers for your cards because the game has picked a deck to beat you. See, that must be gaining some steam as well. I didn't know what to make of that either, but that must be gaining some steam also, because I'm seeing more and more people say that too. Z-Man says, think it's a wrap. Z-Man said, can't even make it to the 90s on ladder anymore. So tedious. Size Up says, can't go 3 games in a row without having the game quit itself on my phone. That's a big reason why I play less. Version, spelled with S-I-A-N. I've been playing since Miles Morales season. That's when I started. And for the first time, I did not buy the season pass last month, nor will I buy it this month. The gameplay loop has grown stale. Snap CL King. Sadly, this game has been stale, boring, and crap for a long time. Second Dinner don't care about UE or the game. When they change the spotlight keys, only sales and profit. Some new and returning player improvements have been made in recent times, but state of the game and player numbers is beyond saving. Jay Veal says, other than bugs like the deck thing, I don't have a problem, to be honest, and some of the deck stuff is to be expected. If the deck is good, then of course a lot of people will play it. That's unavoidable. Bots I get, but even I'm terrible at knowing if I'm playing a bot. You Are Not Your Own says, game was crashing constantly this morning. Then on the last turn, it crashed twice. I ran out of time. After I lost, the next button was grayed out, and I had to close the app and restart. Trash for a game so old. Capital Bulganian is really bugged in mobile, but Post-Infinite and Conquest are fine. Wheelie says, bug on the phone, closing the app, getting annoying. Choey says, burnout is an issue for me. Been playing for almost 3 years now. It's become monotonous. Zabana says, I'm playing less every day. The game got too much time consuming to keep up, and there are far better options. More Doombot says it's been on a decline since May of this year when the whole Kid Omega debacle happened. It's slowly declining. Dan says, it's definitely the crashing that's making me play less. Malvin Noob, this game sucks on so many levels. I'm beginning to think they're actively trying to kill it. Michael Shurkin says, play Combo or Ash. Kyrie says, in 60, there are 50-50 rate-only bots. Yeah, in level 60, you're still going to get the garbage bots, the ones that are very high CL that play bad. But that's it. Watt's son, I'm still having fun. I enjoy trying to make a deck that you can compete at high level. Also, how do you know if it's a bot for sure? I'm most of the time, I mean, I can't guarantee it 100%, but most of the time, I'm pretty sure I've got it down. Number one, and this isn't a catch-all, but they don't emote. If you emote them at the start of the game and stuff like that, they don't emote most of the time. Number two, they are playing meta decks. And some of them now are playing meta decks that even the meta players aren't playing anymore. Like Invisible Woman, the Invisible Woman last turn deck. And you also know because they sometimes play patterns badly. So the Invisible Woman, the one I played that was Invisible Woman, was playing it very poorly. Not putting the Jocasta in the same lane as Invisible Woman and all that. It snapped me on turn one. And then I played it along, saw that it was probably a bot because it wasn't playing it right. And then I snapped back, and then the instant I snapped back, they left. So there's just ways you could tell. Clearly label the bots. It feels lousy and manipulative for players to not be sure who is a human and who is. I agree with that. Make the bots have certain names or label the bots. I agree with that. I would love it if they did that, but they won't. Because again, if this is to cover up the fact that they're losing a huge amount of players, they're not going to do that. Because regardless of whether people can go out and read all the statistics, they're not ever going to come out in a news bulletin or a post and say, oh, we are losing players by the hundreds or thousands. They're not going to do that. So, Leo Fed, Sanctum ruins the game for people. It's so repetitive, makes us tired of the game. Generational Hater says, well, Glenn is still involved, so it's going to suck. Wow. And then Juank Candy says, for me, the game crashes every time, even in game, and I'm sick of restarting the game in order to not lose 8 cubes. That does happen a lot. You do end up, where the game will crash. It did it a few times to me. It'll crash sometimes when you're at the end. Maybe you wanted to retreat and you can't, or it'll crash, and you'll end up losing cubes. Well, there you go. They were all the responses on the request line this week. Thank you so much for those of you who responded. I hope I got you all, and I was able to read all those out. But yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of people with a lot of the same issues that are going on with the game. So, all right, we're going to move on. We're going to go on the Snap Talk, and we're going to get to my week in the game. A lot of it was described. A lot of it was described right there by a lot of the players. So yeah, a lot of it was described by what's going on there. I mean, ladder. I was hardly playing any ladder at all, I was mostly spending time playing Conquest with some of the new decks I wanted to try. I did have a little fun actually with a move deck, which I'll get into here. Which I never play move. I'm bad at it, and I don't play it much at all. And so. But I started playing a move deck that had Prowler in it, and I enjoyed it. I had fun. I had fun playing it. So, all right, let's get into. I'm gonna open up the game here on my brand new iPad, which is working very well. And I will talk about some of the decks that I've played, where I got them from, or who I got them from. Talk about some variants and things like that. And the Uncle Ben one is fire. Very, very good variant. And then we will get into it here. I probably have to run the game update. I probably have not updated this on my iPad because they did that iOS update just a couple of days ago, and I have not done it on here yet. So I probably am going to have to update it. I won't do it now. I'll just see if I can get through it without it, but I'll have to remember to update it. All right. All right. So let's get to the. Let's go to the decks first. And we'll look at some of them. The one I was playing a lot of was this one from Binks. And this is a Prowler deck. This one has Batroc, Captain America, of course, Sam Wilson. Craven, Zorn, Silk, Rocket and Groot, Hydra Stomper. Has a Rogue in there as tech. Spider-Punk, Mercury, Prowler, and Cannonball. So you got a Mercury Cannonball in here. You've got the Rogue to take care of some things. That helped me out with this card a little bit because I was able to Rogue their Mobius, which was kind of cool. So there's that one. I had fun with that. I do enjoy Prowler. I like Prowler. I like what his card does. Gives you a lot of different options. The Zorn is kind of fun because Zorn will push around Spider-Punk and give you an extra thing with him where he'll just push him away and he'll hit. Then you can move him and he'll hit again. So that's kind of cool. The only thing I found out with this deck is I very seldom ever got Sam. I'd have the shield down. And then I very seldom ever got Sam, so then you're kind of stuck, and your shield is just like stuck there. So I very seldom ever got Sam Wilson, which kind of stinks. But the deck was fun, and I actually won some games with it, and again I'm not usually good with move. So, one of the other Prowler ones, there was actually a couple other ones with Prowler. This one is Regis Kilbin. He played Batroc, Ezekiel Sims, Sam Wilson, Craven, Spider-Man, Silk, Hydro Stomper, Spider-Punk, Prowler, Miles. 2099 he had in his deck, and then Heimdall. But he said 2099 very seldom ever did anything for him. And then we have another Prowler deck, and this one is from Benjamin Roller. This one is Batroc. I haven't tried this one yet. I'm going to try it later on. Batroc, Hydra Bob, Craven, Merlin, Spider-Man, Silk, Hydro Stomper, Prowler, Polaris, Shang-Chi, Miles, and Stegron are in this one. So it's kind of like a Scream kind of a list, but no Scream. Scream without Scream. So they're the three Prowler ones. Now this here is one that I have not tried, but I have lost to this quite a bit. And this is a Zombie Galacti deck. Who'd have thought? But it's a combo deck, of course. You got to have the combo or you're just not going to win. But I guess with this one, it's pretty easy to tell if you're going to get the combo because you're going to know if you've got Wong and if you got Shuri and if you got Galacti in your hand. You're more than likely going to win the game. So you can snap on that, of course. If you have it in your opening draw, you can snap on that because you're more than likely going to win the game because that's generally all you need. Now, the rest of it is buff. You're buffing with America Chavez. You've got Zabu in there to get the Shuri or the Wong played out early. You've got Adam Warlock, who kind of buffs himself. You've got Surge that's going to buff cards. You've got Magic in there to get that extra turn. You got Mr. Fantastic that can buff cards. Fastos that can buff cards. And then Gwenpool that can buff cards. So you're buffing. You also have Superior Spider-Man in here. So you're going to get the extra energy to get these cards out, which would include Zombie Galacti. Because other than that and getting it with Surge, you don't really have a way to get that out if you don't have those cards. So you kind of have to have Mr. Fantastic, of course, too. But if you get the God Draw and you get Wong and you get Shuri and you get Zombie Galacti and you have enough of these other cards that are marked as the Zombie Galacti out on the board, you're just going to win with immense power in almost every lane. So I never thought that I would say, but apparently a Zombie Galacti deck is actually pretty good. Actually pretty good. So, what else? We have, I was trying some Galactus for a little while. It seemed to work. Now, this is OG Galactus. One of them I had OG Galactus and First Steps in, and for a little while it seemed to work. But it's just not good and doesn't. I played some discard, just regular static discard. Scorn, Blade, Morbius, Colleen, you all know the drill. Gambit, Corvus, Lady Sif, Dracula, Proxima Midnight, MODOK, Khonshu, and Apocalypse. Nothing really new there. And then there were a couple different Wiccan decks I tried out. This one, I don't know where this one came from. This one is Sunspot, Jim Hammond's Human Torch, Snowguard. I think this came from a listener of the pod or somebody on X. I'm sorry, I'm not crediting you. Spider-Ham, Domino, Shadow King, Warlock, Luna Snow, Wiccan, Cosmic Ghost Rider, She-Hulk, and Galactus. First Steps. So, again, it's just a way to accumulate, your energy is getting sucked up by some Sunspot, Jim Hammond. So you're just making them bigger, and you're just able to get out like the free She-Hulk by skipping a turn, and then getting out Galactus First Steps at the end, and having that tech in there with Cosmic Ghost Rider. So, and then there is another Wiccan list. Yeah, this was the one I was playing with, the Galacti. Not the Zombie Galacti, but the two Galactus cards. Quicksilver, Domino, Speed, Shadow King, Luna, Shang-Chi, Wiccan, Hobgoblin, Cosmic Ghost Rider, regular Galactus, the one that blows up the locations, Alioth, and Galactus First Steps. That was one that I kind of brewed up. And then there's also Toxic, which is Toxic Wiccan now. And this is Quicksilver, Domino, Luke Cage, Hazmat Rogue, Speed, Malekith Wiccan, Anti-Venom, Man-Thing, and Ajax. So, just some of the decks that I've been playing. And then let's go and look at some cards here. So, look at some variants. I got the Man Spider. This is the Lee Chiola variant from the album. So, I got Man Spider. I wanted to get the Spider-Punk emote. So, I ended up buying 3 of these. I got the Spider-Man Noir one, the Lee Chiola one, too. It's very cool. He's got the costume on with the hat, and he's like looking over a newspaper. It's a cool variant. And then, of course, Uncle Ben, who I have not had a variant for. Reading a paper that has Norman Osborn on the cover, very out of the comic books. And then, of course, his Spider-Man that comes with it is the Lee Chiola Spider-Man. So if you don't have that, you will see it come after Uncle Ben does his line. It says, with great power comes, and dies. So I got the Prowler Collage variant. I got these from Sanctum. I got the James Ryman Living Tribunal. I got the Gamora, the Derek Chew Gamora variant, and I got the Jean Grey Ben Harvey variant, which when split, having her holding that small Phoenix looks freaking awesome. Awesome. I would never tell you to get this card because the card is never played, hardly ever at all. But the variant looks amazing. I got the Inferno variant for Magic, which was at the end of the track of Sanctum. I got the Penny Parker Peach Momoko variant. That was bought for me for Christmas time by my daughter for a Christmas gift. That's the bundle. And I think the David Nakayama Deadpool variant as well that came with the emote. I got that one too. I'm not sure if this... I did get the card from the other mode, the Lizard card, the Paolo Parente Lizard. I did get him. I think I told you that last week, though. I got a Zombie Sentry variant, the Moon Colony one. And I got a Hunger variant, also the Moon Colony one with Black Panther on the front. So there you go. So that's what I got. I've told you I'm done with Sanctum. And it's I haven't played it on the iPad yet, so I apologize, but it's making me go through and claim all of the stuff on okay, there we go. Now we're done. All right, well, it's after 2 o'clock, so let's see what's in the shop. There is a, look at that. You get they give you a Feast Mode bundle. This is for Thanksgiving. It's a Squirrel Girl bundle. You get 1,000 tokens. You get Squirrel Girl variant, which is Creative Plus variant. And you get a new card back, which is Acorns. That looks kind of cool. It's kind of neat. I like it. It's called That's Nuts, is the card back. And it's all acorns. It's probably worth it for the 1,000 tokens. 1,000 tokens, new card back. You get the card and you get the avatar for $9.99. So not bad. Not bad. Big bundle, $99 for Cosmic Ghost Rider, and in 3,000 gold. No, I don't think that's worth it at all. Peach Momoko, Captain America, the Sam Wilson one, that gives you 1,000 gold, 4,500 tokens for $50. And then the Pasquale Ferreira variant of Spider-Ham is in my shop. Got another Spider-Man Noir. Well, that's 700 one. I'll get that one for free. That is the Brett Bean. Oh, I like that. Oh, he's playing the instrument. That's cool. I like that one. I'm confined to the fact I'm never going to get that on Nihilus variant ever. I know I say it every week, but hopefully that will make me have luck to at some point that it will show up. But I doubt that will ever happen. I'm probably gonna get that Squirrel Girl one. It's not bad. 1,000 tokens. That's not a bad price for it. Claim my gold thing there. Let's go over to these. Right now, the Ultimate Carnage is in my shop. It looks awesome, but I wouldn't spend 5,000 tokens on it. But I bet you some people would. It's definitely the coolest looking Carnage. It literally looks realistic, and he's holding a skull. It looks like he's holding Surtur's skull, which is kind of neat. The Clintar pack is out, and that's got just a bunch of variants. Some anti-venom ones, some Carnage, a Lasher variant, Misery, a couple Scorns, a Scream, a Toxin, and 2 Venom variants. I have enough of all those, and I don't play Destroy enough to care. Then we go down, and my Spotlight variant of today that I can purchase is the Seth Adams Proxima Midnight, and the Ultimate is the Magneto Fantasy variant, which I will not get either of those. So, let me see. I should have... Is today... What's today? No. No, never mind. That's next week. My Alliance... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was this week. Yeah, we of course, my Alliance got all the rewards again. We have a premium mystery variant in the personal. Oh, 2. Wow, they're being generous. They're giving us the 2 mystery variants this week, so that's cool. Grab some missions here while I'm thinking about it. We'll do the fill all locations mission. We'll do the we'll do play 2 cost cards. And we'll do play 5 cost cards. There you go. Pick those up while I'm in there. My Sanctum rock, or my Alliance rocks, by the way. Just got 75 elixir boosters. Squirrel Girl 1, I think I'm gonna probably get. The card back's cool. I like getting new card backs every now and then. Okay, I'm 83 and 4 out of 7 on ladder. Doubt I will get much further or any further than that. Because it's just so hard, and the times that I play just don't lead up to it very well. So I doubt I'll get more than that. I have some Infinity tickets to use up, which in Conquest, so I may do that. See if I will go through those. And yeah, that's essentially been my weekend snap. So there you go. So that is that part of the pod. And next up, we are going to get to... We're going to go to Comics Corner. And we are going to talk about Hydro Man and the Prowler. Hydro Man and Prowler. Now, Prowler, you're going to hear some stuff about from not necessarily the Prowler that you may be thinking of or that they may have even intended with this card. But you're gonna hear about him the way I read about him, and that'll be, of course, out of the comics, and it's a bit of a different one than the animated one. So we're gonna go over Prowler and talk about him. So as you get there's been a lot of them: Aaron Davis, Hobie Brown, Rick Lawson, Miles Morales, Cat Burglar, Eric Cross, Hobie Brown Clone, the Park Prowler, Spider Prowler, and Prowler from Mojo Media. So there's been a bunch of this guy. So let's get to it. So I'm going to see... Okay. The Prowler is an alias used by several fictional characters. Appearing in American comic books published by Marvel. These characters are primarily depicted as wearing a green and purple battlesuit with a cape and clawed gauntlets. The original version was Hobie Brown. It was created by Stan Lee, John Buscema, and Jim Mooney, based on a drawing by 13-year-old John Romita Jr. Oh my God, 13. Who also named the character. The character was introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man number 78, November 1969, as an adversary to the superhero Spider-Man. An African-American teenage prodigy, Hobie created the Prowler technology to operate as a petty thief. But following his encounter with Spider-Man, he was convinced to turn his life around. Since his redemption, Hobie has served as a valuable ally to Spider-Man, as well as a superhero in his own right, leading to the 1994 limited series Prowler. All right. So Marvel Comics, of course, you just heard he was created in 1969. That was his first appearance in Spider-Man 78. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, number 47, was the second Prowler. That was Rick Lawson. Sensational Spider-Man number 16, May 1997, was Aaron Davis. Then you have Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1, Hobie Brown's clone. Then you have Amazing Spider-Man volume number 4, number 17 in 2016. That was Miles Morales. And, of course, Across the Spider-Verse. Created by Stan Lee, John Buscema, Jim Mooney, and John Romita Jr. The second Prowler was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Rick Lawson was created by Todd DeZago, was the writer, and Mike Wieringo was the artist. Aaron Davis was created by Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli. And then Hobie Brown was created by Dan Slott, R.B. Silva. And then Miles Morales, of course, was Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and David Callahan. Species, of course, is human. Team affiliations, the Defenders, the Outlaws, Wild Pack, Parker Industries. Aaron Davis was the Sinister Six. Notable aliases, Hobie Brown's was Hornet. Aaron Davis was Iron Spider. Abilities, technological genius, skilled hand-to-hand combatant, use of hypnotic aids, and conventional handheld weapons. Battle suit grants wall crawling, gliding via cape, titanium laced claws, gauntlets capable of shooting compressed air blasts, sleeping pellets, and other projectiles. Okay. Several other characters have used the Prowler alias in the mainstream Marvel Universe, including an unnamed self-titled second Prowler created by Lee and Ditko, and medical intern Rick Lawson, created by Todd DeZago and Mike Wieringo. Clone of Hobie Brown, created by Dan Slott, and R.B. Silva, serves as the lead character of a second Prowler limited series, which ties in with the 2016-2017 story Dead No More, The Clone Conspiracy. The Ultimate Marvel equivalent, Aaron Davis, was created by Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli, and was introduced in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1. As the career criminal uncle of this reality Spider-Man, Davis was incorporated into primary Marvel continuity following Secret Wars as a separate version operating independently from the others. Both Hobie Brown and Aaron Davis have appeared in several media adaptations outside of comics, including films, animated series, and video games. Davis in particular is portrayed by Donald Glover in live-action Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man Homecoming. Of course, we saw him, right? He was the one who Spider-Man webbed to the trunk of the car. That was Hobie Brown. So, not sure whether they're going to use him as a Prowler ever in those movies, or he was going to be used in the movies. I don't know. Maybe we will see live-action Prowler in this upcoming Spider-Man movie, being that it's more grounded. We'll see. He was voiced by Mahershala Ali in the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2018. Both actors make cameo appearances in the animated film Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, in which Jarrell Jerome also voices Miles Morales, an original incarnation of the Prowler who will return in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse 2027. This book in particular that I'm looking at right here, this is the debut of the Prowler in the Amazing Spider-Man number 78 from November 1969. I have seen this book many, many times. I'm not sure that I owned it because it's would have been a little old for me. I mean, I was born in 1969, but I may have bought it at some point because it looks super familiar. Either that or maybe I had a reprint or the graphic novel. Original most known iteration was Hobie Brown, debuting in Spider-Man 78, and was created by writer Stan Lee, John Buscema, and Jim Mooney. Character eventually appeared in his own solo comic, The Prowler. The character was inspired by Romita's 13-year-old son, who sketched a villain called The Prowler. Romita combined the name with a design they previously intended for a character called the Stalker that was intended for a never-published Spectacular Spider-Man number 3. Since Hobie, several other characters have taken up the Prowler identity as well. The second version first appeared in Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man number 47, October of 1980, and was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The third version, Rick Lawson, first appeared in Sensational Spider-Man. So Hobie Brown is the original iteration, born in the Bronx. He was a bright but angry teenager who got fired from his window washer job. Intending to use his engineering skills for professional profit, he devised a plan to steal items while disguised as a supervillain and in return said items as Hobie. Donning his green and purple Prowler costume for the first time, Hobie set out to rob the payroll office of the Daily Bugle. Figuring that would garner him quick publicity, however, he was caught. Whoops. Lost my place here. That was bound to happen. In the act by Peter Parker. While struggling with Parker, he drew editor J. Jonah Jameson's attention. Parker, with no way to defeat Prowler without giving away his own secret identity, contrived to get thrown through a window during the struggle and used spider powers to save himself once outside. Traumatized by the events, the shaken Hobie made his escape to the building's roof, only to be confronted by Spider-Man. Spider-Man vanquished and unmasked Hobie, but realized he was just a misunderstood kid, just like Peter once was, so instead of handing him over to the police, he advised him to rethink his life. Hobie took Spider-Man's advice to heart and gave up his criminal ways. He later impersonated Spider-Man at the hero's request. Spider-Man wearing a webbing mask to convince Peter's friends that Parker was not Spider-Man after Peter confessed the truth while suffering delirium due to the flu, thus creating the impression that Parker had merely been confused. Hobie was convinced that Spider-Man was involved somehow in Police Captain George Stacy's death and unsuccessfully tried to bring Spider-Man to justice. Hobie eventually married his love Mindy S. McPherson and settled down into a career as a construction worker. Hobie began to look after his little brother Manuel Manny Lopez as part of the Big Brother program when Manny was murdered. Prowler believed the White Tiger, Hector Ayala, was responsible and attempted to bring White Tiger to justice. Prowler attempted to join the superhero group The Defenders, only to be tossed into the harbor by Valkyrie, at which point he decided to retire his identity. However, his Prowler equipment was later stolen by a cat burglar to commit crimes for fashion criminal Belladonna. Hobie was eager to join the search for the thieves, but Spider-Man insisted that he stay home so he would not get into trouble. Since the second Prowler committed a felony murder, when the second Prowler was subsequently defeated by Spider-Man, the stolen equipment was returned to Hobie. Prowler later appeared in California during Pete's Webb's book deal. His first seen attacking the Black Fox for possession of a chalice to keep Mindy out of prison. Mindy accepted a bookkeeping job at Transcorp, New York. The company was caught in some shady stock deals and Mindy was set up and blamed for the crimes. Seeing it was as the only way to clear Mindy's name, Hobie redonned the Prowler costume and found the books which Mindy had been blamed for stealing. He hid the books on an information chip and put the information chip on the chalice, where no one would look for it. Prowler and Spider-Man then teamed up to take on Black Fox to regain possession of the chalice. Hobie vindicated his wife of stock fraud charges with the help of Spider-Man and the Black Fox. Later attempted to vindicate Spider-Man of a crime and first encountered Silver Sable and the Outlaws, including rehabilitated villains like Sandman, Rocket Racer, and Puma. His safety designs were stolen by Justin Hammer. Hobie proved that by design flaws during an encounter with Hammer's hirelings. Hobie fought Black Tiger as an initiation test for Silver Sable. Prowler joined with Spider-Man and the Outlaws against the Avengers and the Space Phantom. Prowler was hired along with Outlaws to retrieve a Symkarian nuclear device in England. Prowler then formally joined the Outlaws to rescue a kidnapped daughter of a Canadian official. So this is all with just regular Spider-Man. The second Prowler, of course, is Belladonna stole Hobie Brown's costume and equipment and hired a cat burglar that Spider-Man fought a long time ago to become the new Prowler. So that's the new one. The Rick Lawson one was a medical intern, was present when Hobie Brown was brought into the hospital where he worked due to a back injury. The costume was partly cut away to conceal Hobie's superhero identity, but his friends were unwilling to move him due to his back injury, leading to Lawson finding a portion of the costume that was left unattended and deducing Hobie's identity. After finding his address from the medical files, Lawson steals a replica of the Prowler costume using new tech to both rob patients in the ICU and get revenge on those who had wronged him in the past. Then it goes to Ultimate, which was Aaron Davis, Hobie Brown's clone. Powers and abilities. Iterations have no superhuman powers, although Hobie Brown is naturally inventive, especially in the field of pneumatics, despite no formal education in that science. Technical gimmicks. Steel darts, gas pellets, small explosives, magnesium flares, and cleaning fluid. Hypnotic aids and conventional handheld weapons. Steel-tipped gauntlets for scaling walls and shock-absorbent foam rubber insulated boots. Cape is a work of pneumatic filaments which expand with air to give it a rigid structure, allowing him to glide. So he is a technological genius. He's been in House of M, Marvel Zombies, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Punk, Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows, Spider-Hero. He was on an episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series, voiced by Tim Russ. He initially works for the crime lord Iceberg on that show. He attempted to rob Mary Jane Watson, but is stopped by Spider-Man. Hobie saves Richard Fisk. Kingpin arranges for his release. Provides him with a Prowler battlesuit. He also appears in Spectacular Spider-Man, voiced by Charles Duckworth. He's a classmate of Peter Parker and a friend of Flash Thompson. And also appears in Spider-Man 2017, voiced by Nathaniel Potvin. Acquired his Prowler equipment from his brother, Abraham Brown. And then, of course, the film. I was in Homecoming, portrayed by Daniel Glover. And then, of course, Across the Spider-Verse, portrayed again by Glover. Aaron Davis incarnation appears in Into the Spider-Verse, voiced by Mahershala Ali. And then a bunch of video games. Self-titled comic as well. Prowler the Clone Conspiracy. The Prowler is from 1 through 6 from 2017. So there you go. That is Prowler. And we are now going to look up Hydro Man, and we'll go over a bit about him. Won't spend as long on Hydro Man because he's not as interesting to me. I mean, he's cool and all, but he's not as interesting as Prowler was. I always liked Prowler. Hydro Man, his nickname is Morris Maury Bench. He has a relative named Mud Thing, fusion with Sandman. Physical characteristics, he's male, 6'2", 265 pounds. Brown eyes, brown hair. Appears to sweat profusely if he doesn't concentrate on maintaining his corporeal integrity, liquid form. He is alive on Earth 616, and he is from the Bronx, New York. He is American. Professional criminal, former crewman of a cargo ship. Creators are Dennis O'Neil and John Romita Jr. First appearance, Amazing Spider-Man 212 in 1980. 1980. Was born and raised in the Bronx. Began working as a crewman on a cargo ship. Was accidentally knocked overboard by Spider-Man while a powerful experimental generator was being lowered into the ocean for testing. Exposed to the energy conversion process of the generator while being bombarded with volcanic gas, Bench's cellular structure was altered. When he was rescued from the depths, his body began exuding great quantities of a watery substance, which Bench first thought was perspiration. Annoyed by the incessant dripping, Bench went to a local pub to stir up trouble. Finding none, he was astonished to learn that he could convert his entire physical form into a watery liquid. Soon after discovering of his powers, Hydro Man set out to find those he held responsible for his condition in order to make them pay. He eventually encountered Spider-Man, and on their second altercation was defeated when Spider-Man managed to splatter the nucleus of his body sufficiently far enough that Hydro Man could not reform himself before evaporating. A few weeks later, Hydro Man regenerated his form in a water tower on a Manhattan rooftop where apparently the majority of his body particles had fallen as rain. Returning to his favorite pub, he was chagrined to find William Baker, alias the Sandman, romancing his sometime girlfriend Sadie Frickett. The two criminals soon began fighting over her until Spider-Man came along, tried to stop them. Turning their attentions to him, the two joined forces against their mutual foe. However, Spider-Man, however, tricked the two into running into each other, each in his altered particulate state. Collapsing into the harbor, the two soon emerged from the brine as a composite and sand water creature containing both of their substances but neither of their full intelligence. Dimly recalling their desire for Sadie Frickett, the mud being sought her out at her apartment. After getting over her initial shock, Frickett decided to exploit the creature's devotion to her and, through a theatrical agent, arranged for a special exhibition of Mud Thing. Creature eventually went berserk, but was stopped when a special gas sprayed from police helicopters dehydrated it and caused it to crumble. The soggy sand was scooped up by authorities and taken to the police laboratory, where researchers tried to restore the men to life by various stimuli, including chemicals and radiation. Believing the task was hopeless, police dumped the canister containing them a short time later. Hydro Man and Sandman managed to integrate themselves into their separate rightful forms. Wanting no more of each other's company after their humiliating ordeal, the two went their separate ways, with Hydro Man heading out of town. He was recruited to the Sinister Syndicate along with Beetle, Boomerang, Rhino, and Speed Demon at Coney Island. Spider-Man and Silver Sable, who were working together to catch Jack-O-Lantern, battled the villains. Jack-O-Lantern villains, yes, villains, and only managed to defeat them with the help of Sandman. Hydro Man battled Spidey as a construction site, but was forced to flee when Spider-Man combined him with cement. Hydro Man joined the Wizard's new version of the Frightful Four, which included Titania and Claw. The Wizard allowed the Fantastic Four to defeat them, and his team retreated. When Fantastic Four tracked down their evil counterparts to their hideout, they fell right into Wizard's trap. The Wizard had discovered that Aaron, the Rogue Watcher, was observing the Fantastic Four. Aaron incapacitated the Fantastic Four and had arrived with his minion, the Dragon Man. However, Aaron was only interested in collecting the Fantastic Four's DNA samples and quickly teleported away. With the Four defeated, the Wizard and his minions placed him in cryogenic suspension tubes. However, they were located by Ben Grimm, who freed his comrades and quickly defeated the Frightful Four. Was in Assembly of Evil, Sinister Syndicate again, AIM Weapons Expo, The Vault, The Magia, Villain's Wedding. That was the wedding of Absorbing Man and Titania. The Masters of Evil. Teamed up with the Shocker, returned to the Frightful Four. He escaped the raft at one point. And he joined the Sinister 12. That was manned by the Green Goblin. Hydro Man watched on TV in disbelief when Spider-Man revealed his identity to the world. That was during Civil War. He, alongside the Sinister Six, went up against the new hero Guiding Light, who was working with Spider-Man. He was in Hood's Gang, the Frightful Four, Spider Island, Dying Wish. This is all different comic things he was in. His power, of course, is water transformation. Possesses the ability to bodily transform himself in whole or part into a watery liquid substance. While in this state, his consciousness can control every droplet that comprises his body. Thus, he can will himself to turn liquid whenever struck. Presumably, if he were to will just his torso to turn liquid, his still solid head and arms would fall to the ground. It is not known if this would cause injury to his solid parts or not. Hydro Man can also propel the liquid particles of his body at great pressure in the same style as water shooting through a fire hose. It is not known how he generates the pressure to create this effect, although he can harden his fist as if it were ice hard. They possess some form of attraction for one another so that his disintegrated consciousness can draw all the particles back into cohesion after total dispersal. Water manipulation, of course, duh. Power has been stolen by Namor. His weaknesses are the soul molecule. When Morris transforms into water, one molecule in his body contains his mind and tells the other molecules what to do. If this molecule is separated, the rest of his body becomes ordinary water. Hydro Man can easily be defeated if he is turned into ice and kept frozen, such as when Spider-Man used an ice pellet to take him out effortlessly. Being made of water, he can also be defeated through electrocution. Hydro Man was one of the candidates on Steve Rogers' list of supervillains to enroll in Luke Cage's Thunderbolts roster. Spider-Man has stated that with his power, Hydro Man could be a major threat, but his low intelligence also holds him back and keeps him a henchman or a thug. So there you go. That is Hydro Man. All right. We are going to head over to the Marvel Comics app. look to see what we've got. I've already read a bunch of my books. But we'll go in here. We'll check it out. So I'll go through the new this week. There is a Marvel graphic novel from 1980 called Raven Banner. What is this? I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out later. It looks like something fantasy kind of thing. The Infinity comic, Marvel Rivals Infinity comic is up to issue number 30. That is new. The Marvel All-in-One Thing versus the Marvel Universe is issue number 1. That's new this week. Spider-Girl, the all-new Spider-Girl, issue number 3. We have The Amazing Spider-Man, which I've read, is up to number 10. That is the new run of the title. Exceptional X-Men, number 2020, from 2024 up to number 12. Black Cat has her own series. Issue number 1, which just started. That's a spin-off of the current Amazing Spider-Man run. Ultimate Black Panther's up to issue number 19. Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe, issue 2. Imperial's up to issue number 3. It's very good so far. All new Spider-Gwen, The Ghost Spider is issue number 1. Star Wars up to issue number 4, which I've already read. X-Men Age of Revelation Infinity comic is issue number 4. Psylocke is up to issue number 10. The New Avengers, issue number 3. Wolverine, issue number 12. That's 24. Venom, Black, White, and Blood. Oh, I've got to read that. Those are very good. They're printed in black and white and red, but they're usually really good stories. So I'll definitely be reading that one, checking that one out. And, of course, as I said, let's look up Hydro Man here, and we'll see what he appears in. And I'm sure you can get books with him in them. And there he is, Hydro Man. It says, when cargo and ship crewman Morris Maury Bench mutated into living water, being Hydro Man, he blamed Spider-Man for his condition. Whether alone or alongside supervillains, he stops at nothing to capture the wall crawler despite setbacks. So as of right now, the latest on 2016-2017 called Occupied Avengers. Spider-Man 2099 meets Spider-Man 1. He's in some Iron Man stuff. Of course, Spider-Man team-ups as you would imagine. The Deadly Foes of Spider-Man. Been in some Power Man books. Venom War, Spider-Man Reign. So just pretty much a lot of Spider-Man books. I haven't seen him having his own title or anything like that in here, so I don't see that. And then let's look up Prowler. Typing in Prowler here. Prowler. After witnessing a battle between Spider-Man and Stiltman, Hobie Brown decided to make a superpowered suit for himself. Though he started as a criminal, he quickly switched sides and even retired for a time. More recently, he began working with Peter Parker, both as Prowler and a fill-in for Spider-Man. There was a Prowler series in 2016 and 2017. And then we had, of course, the Miles Morales books, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Prowler 1, 2, the series went, it looks like 6 issues in 2017. A lot of Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. Spectacular Spider-Man, and then you're going all the way back to the 60s stuff. Amazing Spider-Man, 1960, number 78, 79, 93. So, yep, going all the way back. And he was in a bunch of stuff in the 90s and things like that. So all together, he's been in some things over the years. And then, of course, Miles Morales books, which, of course, would come from the animated series and things like that, too. So, all right. So that is that for the Comics Corner. All right, so let's head over to the MCU Minute and wrap this Thanksgiving edition up here. Robert Downey Jr. today shared a new Thanksgiving photo featuring Doctor Doom and Iron Man holding a wishbone. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. And let's see. We've got not really a lot of like breaking news here, but just some cool little things, I guess. This one's from Screen Rant. 8 MCU loose threads we think are going to get resolved soon. Monica in the X-Men universe. Well, yeah, for sure. That's definitely going to be resolved in Doomsday. Sharon Carter is the power broker. The end of the series revealed that she was actually the mastermind villain behind the plot in Falcon and Winter Soldier. The Young Avengers coming together. Well, that may be delayed. That was supposed to happen before they decided to change everything away from Kang. So that may be waiting a bit. Bucky and Sam's issues over the Avengers. Clea teaming with Doctor Strange. Yeah, that probably will be seen as soon as we see Doctor Strange back. And it could be in Secret War. America Chavez at Camartage. There was supposed to be a Strange Academy series as well, but I don't think that's going to happen. Also, that was going to follow up Ironheart with Wong and stuff, and America Chavez was supposed to be there, but that's probably not going to happen anymore. Namor working with Wakanda, more than likely going to happen in Doomsday. The Ten Rings beacon from Shang-Chi. So, yeah, I would imagine a lot of that would get tied up. Disney Plus, this is from the Direct, makes MCU history with Phase 6 timeline jump. A historic Phase 6 timeline jump on Disney Plus has been revealed. Marvel Studios updated an ever-changing timeline on Disney-owned streamer with the arrival of Fantastic Four First Steps. First Steps is the furthest in the future. Okay, so that's basically just a menu. Like that's their menu that they show on Disney Plus. This is from comicbook.com. 7 costumes you'll never see in the MCU. This is, of course, their opinion, but first one is number 7 is Green Goblin's classic costume. So that, of course, is the purple gloves, the purple hat, the purple boots with the big eyes and stuff like that. It says Green Goblin's an amazing character, one who played an integral role in the history of the web slinger. Norman Osborn and his son Harry both wore one of the coolest costumes ever. A goblin suit with a purple one piece, boots, gloves, purple purse, and a hat. It's a great costume, and we've never gotten anything like it in the movies. Norman made his MCU debut in Spider-Man No Way Home, but he didn't get any kind of costume. While the MCU usually tries for accurate costumes, they were going to do that with the Green Goblin. We already would have seen it. We'll never get this classic costume, and that's a tragedy. Rogue's original costume. Rogue's best-known costume is the Jim Lee design number that debuted in X-Men Volume 2, number 1, and was popularized in X-Men the Animated Series. This is the look that everyone thinks of when they think of the mutant Southern Belle, and almost certainly the one we'll get from the MCU. X-Men have some amazing costumes, and Rogue's yellow and green with the leather jacket actually isn't her best, at least in my opinion. I've always been partial to the original. A green and white number that was super simple and fits her character like a glove. It was brought back in the late 90s, and she used modifications of it in the zeros and the tens. It's a cool costume, but the MCU is definitely going to go with the 90s costume. Cable's Year 2000 costume. Chris Claremont's return to the X-Men brought with a lot of changes, including numerous costumes. We'll never see any of those in the MCU because no one but me likes Claremont's 2000 run. The actual spider armor. So that's the one that looks like Tony Stark's golden, the golden red. First 2 movie costumes were created by Heroic Genius. The second one basically being the MCU version of the Iron Spider armor. It's even called the Iron Spider costume, but it's nothing like the far superior comic version of the Iron Spider armor. Black Widow's villain costume. Oh my gosh, this is from like the... This is very, very old. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt you're not going to see this one. First introduced in Iron Man 2, and was very different from the first appearance of the character in the comics. Natasha Romanoff is a Russian femme fatale spy who first battled Iron Man. Mostly wore a black dress with a fur scarf, forearm-length gloves, and a hat and veil. She wore this costume in several of her original appearances. Very different from the MCU, but no, that's definitely not going to happen. Wolverine's black and gray X-Force costume. Movie missed was the black and gray costume, wore as the leader of X-Force. Yeah, I mean, you would think with all the the versions we got by him that maybe that one would have been shown. Hawkeye's purple masked costume with the triangle shapes and the. So I'm going to be blunt. The MCU Hawkeye's costumes have been kind of bad. They don't look offensive. They're technically comic accurate. The first one is a modification of the Ultimate Hawkeye costume, and his later costumes were based on the modifications made to the comics to make his costume look more like the movies, but they're very boring. However, Hawkeye does have fantastic costume in the comics that we're never going to see, and it's the purple masked one he wore for decades. For my money, it's one of the greatest costumes of all time, with the big H on the helmet. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it. I just don't think it's going to be a costume that they're going to show right now. So, well, that was, I guess, kind of interesting. But let me see if there's anything else. Um, 12 MCU heroes take on Doctor Doom. No, that's comics. Oh, okay. This is Kelsey Grammer. So this one could be a little bit spoilerish, but not much. He spilled a couple of details about, of course, working as Beast. Let's see what he said here. He revealed that his character interacts with Chris Hemsworth's Thor and also Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic, though it's unclear if all three are present in the same scene. Instead of realizing that he might be letting on more than he's allowed to, he then doubled down by saying that he sort of... I remember watching the interview, and then he said sort of... It says he sort of shares a scene with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, the main villain of Avengers Doomsday. So... yeah, I remember seeing that interview. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really give that much away. Just kind of said a few things. That's really been it. Not a whole lot of stuff in the MCU this week. It's been a relatively quiet week for the MCU news. Of course, it's a holiday week and stuff like that, so I'm not really surprised by that. But get back to where I was here really quick, and we're going to finish this off. So we are going to now get to the we're going to get to the lyric for this week. And we will finish it off here. All right. So this is the lyric challenge for the week. And I think this should be this is probably going to be a pretty easy one too. Yeah, I think this will be a pretty easy one for you to get. So but we'll do this one because this is fun. I'll start you off with some easy ones, and then we'll get to the hard ones a little bit later. But this one's going to be pretty easy. All right, so here is the lyric challenge for the week. This song comes from 1980. All right, I'm going to read it midway through because if I read any of the other things, it'll be too simple. They've got to catch me if they want me to hang, because I'm back on track and I'm beating the flack. Nobody's going to get me on another rap. Look at me now. I'm just making my play. Don't try to push your luck. Just get out of my way. All right, there you go. That is the lyric for this week. Very famous song. And of course is attributed to something with the MCU. You could also say what it's from in the MCU as well if you know the name of the song. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, that is going to do it for me for this particular week. Have a happy rest of your Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the holiday. If you do stuff for the weekend, I'll be right back at work, of course, because tomorrow is Black Friday, and in retail, that is one of the biggest days of the year. Now, for staples, not so much, but I'm sure it'll be crazy out there and all that stuff. So, have a great rest of your week, guys. Enjoy the last week of the Spider season, and next week we will get into our card rankings for the Wolverine stuff for the Weapon X season. We'll get into the card ranks. And we'll go over all of that stuff on the show next week. So that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for listening. Wherever you may be listening to the show, I really, really appreciate it. Make sure to check out my YouTube page and check out some of the past creators that I've talked to and we'll be getting back to very soon when I get Burb and I get Kier Nimbus on the show. And of course, drop me some comments. Whether it be on the podcast itself, on my Discord, on X, wherever it may be. Let me know what you think about the pod, things you want to hear, whatever the case might be. I'd appreciate that as well. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Thanksgiving and a great rest of your holiday weekend. And I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Stay safe, especially if you're traveling. Be kind to one another always. Have a great Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your thankful and will soon to be eating turkey, Snap DJ. Signing off. Gobble, gobble.